guys. Footy is back for 2026. I thought I'd have a crack at doing a little bit of a ladder prediction. I'm going to go from 18 all the way up to first place. Let's go. So in last place, taking the wooden spoon, I have North Melbourne. It's really hard to put a team in last place. I don't really want to do it, but someone's got to go there. And unfortunately, I think that team's going to be North Melbourne. I really like them. I'd like to see them do well. I know they're going to get some good natural progression out of their young players, but I just don't see them improving compared to the other teams around them. I'm not sure Clarkson really wants to be coached there, and unfortunately, it's going to be a tough year for them, and they're going to come last. In 17th, I'm going with the West Coast Eagles. No surprise that they're here. Obviously, they had a really tough year last season, but I do think they're going to see a little bit of improvement this year. Second year under Coach McWalter should be good for them. But also, I think they actually recruited really well in the offseason. A few good players brought in through trade, free agency, through the draft. Their young players are going to get better. So, yeah, they can't really get any worse than last year. So, let's see how they go this year. In 16th, I've gone with Essendon. And to be honest, I feel a little bit stiff about this one because I think they do have a few all right players and they've definitely got some young guys who are going to help contribute this year. But I just don't think they're going to be a really good team. I think they've got a couple injuries to some really key players. I think the whole stuff with Zach Merritt, although they've said it's not going to affect them, I think that it will. Yeah, and I'm just not sure that they've got the right game plan to go any further. And looking at the teams that I've got around them in this 4 to 6 range, I think this is where they're going to place. In 15th place, it's the Melbourne Football Club. Obviously, new coach for them, Stephen King. So they'll be an exciting watch to see how they go. They definitely look like they're playing an exciting brand of football in their 2 preseason games that I saw. Obviously, real season's going to be a little different. You can talk about the players that have gone out, also the couple players that are injured. Even Stephen May's just retired. That's going to hurt them. It's going to be fun and exciting to see what their young players can do with the opportunities that they're given. But yeah, I think they may surprise a couple teams this year for sure, but can't see them any higher than this. In 14th place, I'm going with my team, Richmond. Maybe a little bit biased because, to be honest, I think we can definitely finish in the bottom 4 and it could still actually be a really good result for us this year. But I have us getting a couple extra wins, maybe around that 7-8 wins, which could be enough to get us up to 14th. Yeah, let's see what happens. Hopefully we can get there. 13th place, I'm going with the Port Adelaide Football Club. Obviously, again, another team with a new coach, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. They clearly underperformed last year, and to be honest, I still think they've got a couple of really good players. I think Rosie and Butters are up there as 2 of the best in the competition. And Mitch Georgiades, I feel, is really underrated as when you talk about key forwards in the game. I think he's just as good as any of them. So, they've definitely got the tools, but again, I think with a new coach, after a big transition, having Hinkley there for so long, it's going to take a little bit of time for him to get it right. I just can't see them advancing past the other teams out ahead of them. In 12th place is the Giants. Biggest sliders on the ladder for me, I believe, from 5th place last year to 12th place this year. Look, I had them kind of sliding down the ladder a little bit, but then watching their preseason and then all the injuries that have come out as well, yeah, I think it might end up being a little bit of a tough season for them, and they may fall down this far the ladder. I do like them. I'd hope that they can do a little bit better, but yeah, at the moment, I think this is where they're going to land. Then, just missing out on the new wildcard format, I have Carlton in 11th. To be honest, I actually think Carlton had a really good off-season. They were able to get the best deal that they could for Kerno. They brought in some other really good pieces, so I can think help improve their best 2023. I'm just not sure they're quite ready to take that jump into finals. But, they're going to be fighting really hard for it. I think it may actually be finals or bust for Voss this year. Maybe even earlier, depending on results. But I think they're thereabouts, but I have them just missing out. In 10th place, securing one of those wildcard spots is St Kilda. Obviously, talking about off-season, St Kilda had a huge off-season. They spent some big money, got some good players in. They're definitely going to improve. Clearly, they're looking to push for finals as well. But I feel like this wildcard is set perfectly for a team like that. Definitely got some great top-end talent. I'm just not too sure what else is coming through underneath it. Look, they definitely have capabilities to go higher, but to be honest, they could be a team that drops further down the ladder. I feel like 10th is about right. The other team in a wild card spot, I have Collingwood coming in 9th. Obviously, that's another bit of a drop for them. They finished top four last year and sliding down to ninth now. We'll say with all that stuff last year is that, that sort of like four to even just missing the eight with the Bulldogs. It was all really tight. There was only like a game or two between top four and missing the eight. Reason why I've got Collingwood dropping down a little bit is their second half of last season. They were really poor, and I think again, I know they don't like the excuse of the aging list, but it is an aging list. It's going to be hard for someone like Elliott to do what he did again last year. I think. Prove me wrong, Collingwood, but I think ninth is just about right from this year. Moving into the top eight, and I have the Bulldogs in there this year. Obviously, like I just said before, very tight squeeze last year to make it in, and they were the unlucky team that fell out. Probably any other season they would have got in. This season, I do have them finishing in eighth. I think Luke Beveridge is one of the most underrated coaches. He's been really good for the Bulldogs for 10 plus years. Always seems to have a really good game plan for him. I think they need to figure out how to beat the teams ahead of them. They really struggled against top eight sides, which is probably why they didn't make it last year. But they've got some absolute weapons. I think Bontempelli's definitely a Brownlow chance. Maybe this is the year that he does it. Sam Darcy, if he can play a full season, he could nearly be a lock for the Coleman, in my opinion, as well. Yeah, they're a great team. Are they better than the teams ahead of them? No, but I think eighth place is fair for them. In seventh place in that last wildcard spot is Geelong. It's crazy to think that I've got them down to 7 as being low. Talking about great coaches, Chris Scott, I think in his 15 years, they've made the top 4 11 times, which is crazy consistent. They're always up there about it. I have them sliding down just that little bit to 7th this year, I think. Sometimes coming off a grand final defeat, teams kind of struggle a little bit the next year. But, they're not totally falling off, but a little bit of a dip. Also, they've kind of like Collingwood, they do have a couple of older players, so I think. I'm just not sure who's coming through, particularly the forward line. I know Cameron's in a bit of trouble with some injuries through the off season. I don't know if they've really got anyone to replace him, but I can't drop them out of the finals totally. I think a little drop down to 7th seems about right to me. Then moving on to the top 6, the teams that will be playing finals no matter what. First team I have there is the Gold Coast Suns. They made finals for the first time last year, and I think everyone's pretty confident they're probably going to get there again. Some people have them going top 4, even higher. I feel like 6 is about right. Part of it's more, I was kind of like, they've only just made the finals once for the first time last year. Now, all of a sudden, they're going to be a top 4 team. But prove me wrong, Gold Coast. I think they can absolutely do it. They've definitely got a great attack. It's behind the ball where I have concerns with how they play, but who knows? But we will see. In 5th place, I have Fremantle. Honestly, I think Fremantle have pretty close to the best list in the competition. Talent right across all positions on the park. However, it's just always, can they put it together? When placing Fremantle, definitely an argument to put them in the top 4, but also knowing the kind of team that they've been consistently over the years, they could even drop down to a wildcard spot in around that 9th, 10th range. Feel like 5th is good. I'd like to see them make the top 4 and have a real good crack at it, but I just wasn't confident enough to put them there, so I'll stick with 5th for them. Now moving into the top 4 spots, and in 4th place, I've gone with Sydney. Seems like there's been a bit of a trend over the last few years that a team who finishes outside the top 8 or misses finals the year before, there's always one that comes in and ends up being in the top 4 the next year. Sydney's that obvious choice to me this year. Last year, they had a bit of a delayed start. They had a new coach. This year, all their players are fit. They're looking firing. Someone like Errol Goulden looks like he could be another player for the Brownlow. He missed the first half of last season, which is big. Dean Cox, second season under his belt as a coach. He's obviously going to get better. Sydney have been consistently a really good team in making finals. They're definitely going to get to finals again this year, and I think it may be in the top 4 position. In 3rd place, I've gone with Hawthorn. It's hard. I was looking at scenarios where potentially it was an all interstate top 4, but I just have a feeling there's going to be one Melbourne team in there, and that obvious choice to me is Hawthorn. They play really good. I think they've probably got the best backline in the game. It's a really solid system, and they're really good in other areas of the ground too. They're really fast on the attack. They play a great brand of footy. They win big games as well. They obviously made it to a prelim last year. They finished 8th, but like I said, they were really only a game off finishing top four last year. I think it's fair, and I think they're gonna win their way to top four this year. In second place, no surprises that I've gone with the Brisbane Lions. To be honest, I actually do think that they can go and win the three-peat this year. They would be my pick for the flag, but they always never seem to finish first on the ladder, so I feel like second's good. Yeah, look, I don't really have to explain this. They've probably got the best team in the competition still, and they're only getting better with some couple players that they brought in, like Sam Draper and Oscar Allen in the offseason. Maybe Dan Annable as a young gun from the draft helps him out too. Yeah, Brisbane second, probably going to go and get the three-peat. Can't really argue that. That does mean, though, finishing top of the ladder, I have the Adelaide Crows again. Feel like this is one that people maybe won't agree with. Some people were saying last season was a fluke with them, but to be honest, I think that they can do it again. I think people are basing their opinion on two really poor games in the finals. They're definitely going to grow from that. I feel like they're going to have that bit of a fire under them now. After finishing top and finishing off the season so poorly in finals, they're going to want to do really, really well again. I think they've definitely got the tools to do it. I think Jordan Dawson's close to the best captain in the league at the moment. Riley Philthorpe again up forward. I'm actually going to pick Riley Philthorpe as my Coleman pick over someone like Sam Darcy, who I think I said earlier. Also, Adelaide Oval, it's the best home ground advantage in the league, I feel. Yeah, I think people are maybe sleeping on them, and I don't see why Adelaide can't finish top again. So that's why I've picked them there. But yeah, that is my ladder predictor for AFL 2026 season. I'll put it up on the screen now. I'll screenshot it. I'll review it at the end of the year. See how we go. If I can get 5 or 6 right, I think I've done a pretty good job. Hopefully I'm not too far off with a lot of them either. But really excited to have footy back. Let's see how we do. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.